All right, so we have come to the part where we hear the woman of the hour. All of you, got dressed. Some of y'all went to Ross and bought some clothes for this. I saw, people putting mascara on, all getting ready for this incredible moment right here. And so I'm gonna read her bio and then I'm gonna say a little something. So here's her bio. Astrid is a Salvadorian American poet and journalist based in Los Angeles. She earned a bachelor's degree in business administration from Cal State University, Dominguez Hills. Here, she was captain of the slam poetry team and president of the poetry club, Flow. Astrid has since become a beacon in LA's writing community, shining through with her annual showcase, Talk That Shit, a Christian show, while having highly esteemed featured performances at Take the Mic, Unplugged LA, Sela Arts Festival, and Lit Fest Pasadena, just to name a few. She lives in Long Beach and continues to share her editorial voice to LA Taco, an independent press covering the native Los Angeles community. Her work has also been featured at Viva la Mujer and Cultural Weekly. I had the great pleasure of being Astrid's poetry instructor at the Community Literature Initiative. And one thing that I just want to say about her is that she was just an incredibly talented artist who supported her classmates, helped them to write their books, and one thing that I just remember, I think there's something special when people take time to work on their craft. Take classes. A lot of people think poetry is a hobby, but there are those of us who take it very seriously. And then those people who take it seriously take classes to work on their craft, to develop themselves. So I just want to give a shout out to Astrid for taking the time to work on her craft, because your craft produces works like this book that we're going to hear tonight. So without further ado, please put your hands together for Astrid coming up to the microphone.
What's up, everybody? How are you guys doing tonight? Good. I'm nervous as hell. This is my first book ever, so thank you all for being here. So I'm gonna just go ahead and get right into it. This first poem is titled 1111. Today, I choose myself. I will be a healed woman who smiles in the mirror as a reminder. My hips will dance to a rhythm of hope. Trust my body is safe. Believe it is beautiful, like a dove released from its cage. I will climb out of bed on the mornings I am crumbling. Thank myself for a new day. Celebrate the 3 steps forward after the 2 steps back, because there is always one step still worth appreciating. There is a magenta sunset waiting, and this is a sign to see it. Progress is laughter after an insult, a deep breath before a meltdown, the fight during a flight response. I'm a shooting star, fluorescent in the sky, and when I crash, I will land on Venus, rising beyond Aphrodite dreams. The indigo child rebirthed from the sea, flying on the back of a swan's wings. I will close my eyes, feel my hair blowing in the wind, cry rivers to cleanse my spirit. The rose within me will rise from ashes to ashes, dust to dust, through the soil in my skin for earth to see. The oracle in my sign, the gaze in my moon. From this day forward, I promise to have and hold myself whole. Thank you. Thank you, guys. So before I go ahead and get into the next poem, I just really wanted wanted to give a special shout out and thank you to World Stage Press and Community Literature Initiative, because without them, none of this would be possible right now. So a special thank you to Kamari and Jerry, Sean, who helped me with the whole design of the book. You guys have really been truly awesome. I'm a very particular person, so thank you for being patient with me. But you know, we produced this, and I'm really proud of this. So thank you guys so much, because I could not have been happier with the way that things have turned out. So for this next poem that I'm going to read for you guys, this is actually like an oldie but a goodie. So for those of you who have been rocking with me since day one, I had a poem titled Confessions of a Love Child. And that poem was really just about me coming to this awareness that a lot of the relationships that I was finding myself into were stemming from my father not being a part of my life. And so I wanted to talk about what that process looked like for me and how I sort of came to that realization. Because what it made me realize was that I was attracting people into my life who were lost because I was lost. So the poem ended up being reworked for this book, and instead of Confessions of a Love Child, it's now Confessions of a Lost Child. I seek lost men because I'm insecure. The alcohol teaches me to swim in my own sweat, to flirt only using body. But tonight's music is sex, and when a boy named mine is the mouth I crave, two lovers become lost, dancing in sync. Just us below sunset strobe lights, a closeness we run to, tongues crashing, honeydew saliva, draining streams and a foggy kiss. Before therapy, I resented my dad through a hollow man. My father's lesson for leaving me as a child taught me sorrow, made me groan while my friends learned to play fantasy, often speaking of their fathers in a tone of hero, a false understanding. At the drawing table once, a boy shared he was empty, standard trauma, but he was open. Talked splitting days with parents like cutting red popsicles rationed among siblings. It's my turn, and when words switched blade to dad, I heard innocence turned into questions. Where's your dad? Is he at work? I grew uneasy. I shrugged it off. Well, I don't know him. Our table silent, as grief is agony not meant for kids. Feelings I learned for bearing with necessity, to protect a lost girl. I'm still searching through sharp thorns, pretending to be men. I keep begging for understanding, the reason I squeeze roses until I see blood, old wounds, callous scars, when the truth is, I accept all of it. The hurt I'm rooted in from abandonment, accustomed to heartache. Thank you. All right. So there's going to be a lot of thank yous tonight. There were a lot of hands that went into this project. So I also, outside of Community Literature Initiative and World Stage Press, I also had two amazing friends help me out with the marketing for all of this. So special shout out to Stephen Todd, and Eddie. You guys really came through for me. You guys were just awesome. Anything that needed to get done, you guys were there, ready and available. So I truly, truly appreciate you guys. Because again, none of this could have been possible on my own. And I think that's probably the biggest takeaway throughout my whole journey, but especially for this book, is the importance of community. So even for those of you who are tuning in at home, thank you all so much, because thanks to all of you, again, I'm able to stand here in front of you today. So this next piece that I want to share with you is basically the centerpiece of this whole book. So this is a whole book about love poems and my entire relationship, dating, situationship experience. And this journey that I've sort of embarked on has been really interesting because through it all, I've been able to find myself at the end, right? But to get to that point has not been a linear slope. It has not been a steady journey. It has been very rocky and back and forth. And even when I would improve, I'd go back to my old ways. And so I found myself in this karmic cycle that I was trying to break. And I wanted something that could capture that for you guys, to show you, if you're not going through it, what that looks like, and if you are, that it's meant to be that way. So this poem is titled Yearn for Love. 1. Every man I tried to love was a dream state, appearing as the soulmate I prayed for. I know it's all part of his script, yet here I am, mirroring his hurt, running and chasing until we crash our bodies into the iceberg of our differences. We break apart, sinking our potential, and I tell myself I knew this would happen. He then freezes in my memory, forcing me to let go, fading into oblivion. 2. I am dreaming of a man who does not see me. He only thinks of me when he needs my ear, my mouth, my hand. I give him body parts, hoping for his heart to cup safely like a bird with a broken wing. I give and give and give and give until I am a rag doll, left to stitch myself back together. 3. I don't know real love, how it is painted on canvas, splattered into a mess we call bold, brilliant. God, I am begging. Save me. Give me what I'm searching for. I am tired of running into different parts of my body. It has run out of space. Cries through the ache, says, I know I deserve better. Give me the strength to believe love exists. I'm willing. Please, I can't take this anymore. I'm ready to let the universe catch me. Trust fall any puddle of pink clouds. No more pain, no more trauma. I'll watch it vanish in the same way men become ghosts. Let it all go like the first time I ran across a tall field, flew a paper kite above park trees, watched the past crumble in my palms, clench it in a tight fist. Leave it up to me. It's in my hands now. 4. I see the parts of me that still linger, how they slow me down, how my mind has welcomed them. We don't always break patterns just because we want to. They become habits gifted in their return. My body doesn't even trust me anymore. It is afraid, wanting to protect me in ways I've failed before. I hope my body knows I'm sorry. I've been longing its forgiveness, praying for its peace, conjuring my inner child's spirit we both buried long ago. I love my body. At the very least, I hope it knows this, if nothing else. Thank you. So it's kind of heavy. You're going to see a lot of real soul searching in this book. A lot went into this, kind of going back to what Hiram was saying. I put my all into this book. So everything that you read and see and hear is real. There are things that I've experienced, that I've gone through, that I've overcome. And I know that some of it might come as a surprise for people because I don't normally talk about these things, but I wanted to share it with everybody because as I was going through my own healing, I came to realize that a lot of people go through this journey. A lot of people go through self-discovery, and before getting to that, it's a lot of bullshit. And so it gets hard. It gets hard to continue. It gets hard to keep going because you don't know if you're doing it right. And I want to tell you that you are. And one of the ways in doing that is just through awareness. And kind of as I was mentioning earlier, once I came to realize where a lot of my failed relationships were stemming from, I came to the realization that I was grieving my whole life because I was trying to fill a void with all of these people. And when you grow up with that sense of loss, you don't always know how to identify it. And once you do, it's life-changing because now you know where you need to improve and you know where you need to make that change. But before you do that, you gotta let these emotions run through you. and grief was not something I had ever really dealt with before. So I wanted to write something to commemorate my absent father. And so I titled this, Good as Grief is a Red Rose. Since birth, I've filled my grief with my father's shadow. It's molded me into the emptiness of adulthood where I can't recognize a life apart. To call on grief by its name is to face the unknown half of myself. A tenderness quivering inside the tomb of my body that howls at the moon. She echoes silence. I want to scream, but stop at my throat thinking about the photo albums we could have pieced together. The unlocked character I never uncovered, but will always revel in all its mystery. How nostalgia does not exist to hold me when I need it most. How I will never know your face, the lineage tied to your last name or a third language to teach my children. Someday, they will gather around my bed, listen to broken details about you and the stories that began in spite of you. They will wonder how the silhouette of a parent could shape a child, and I will tell them you were the dirt who bloomed me into a bed of red roses, where I built their loving, protective home. Thank you. So on the topic of love, it's fucking scary to think about ending up alone. And I wanted to say that out loud because I feel like, for those of you that know me, I like to carry myself as a very independent person. But behind all that, you know, there's nights where you get lonely and you wonder to yourself, like, am I really okay with this? Is this really what I want? And whether it happens or not, right, who knows? But I kind of started to lose hope in love for a while. And I started to feel like it's just not something that happened for me. I see all these couples on Twitter, Instagram, whatever, but like that's never gonna be me. And so to kind of not turn myself into a completely hopeless state, I wanted to write about what love looks like to me. Because a lot of times, even when I saw those examples, they didn't really resonate as something that I personally wanted. And so as I started to think about it, I felt that it was important to just remind myself of how good love can be and how much I look forward to it someday. So this poem is titled Daydreams of a Hopeless Romantic. I can't help but think it happens, just not for me. I will grow old, no husband, no grandchildren. I'll be a chain link fence too difficult to climb. But they say the right one will come someday, and each hour I shrink in my hope. I have been taught I am my safest bet, and to find someone worthy is a needle in a haystack. Even when you win, you still expect to lose, and I refuse to be a penny rusty at the bottom of a fountain again. But I fear this is how it will end, that I won't break the cycle, and this happy ending alone won't be good enough. I want real love, a love that consumes me each morning. The sun rises golden through my bedroom window, where every day is an eternal kaleidoscope. May this love focus wandering eyes. May this love feed hungry souls across the lifetimes we travel to find each other. A love that brings us peace after a stressful workday. Let this love give me a home to believe in, a fireplace to praise. Somebody who brings me warm soup when I'm sick, gives me a hug and kiss after an argument. I am ready to receive a dozen roses because it's Monday. I am worthy of a diamond ring without conditions. I deserve all of it. I deserve all of it. Alright, so I'm going to read you guys one last poem. We had to keep it short and sweet today. But also my book is kind of short, so if I read more, I'd be reading you the whole book. But these are poems I'm really proud of. Initially, I had a much longer book, but just wanted to give a special shout out to my editor, Sheila Sauter, who told me just to put the poems in here that I'm most proud of. And so everything that's in here is the best poetry I've ever written. So if you guys don't fuck with me, I don't know. But one of the things that she really pointed out to me that I thought was so powerful when we were meeting was that I was writing a whole bunch of love poems for all these people, and I never took the time to write a love poem for myself. And when I came to that realization, you know, it was really crazy to me. I love me, but I never even thought to write about me. And it was so necessary, especially with where I was getting at in my journey, which was just okay with who I was and where I was going and where I wanted to be. And so when I really sat down and wrote this poem, I believed it. For the first time in a long time, I believed that I loved myself. So for anybody out there who's struggling to love themselves, just take a moment to be kind and give yourself the love that you so often give freely to others. So this poem is titled Ode to Astrid. I want to write a poem for the women who smoke blunts in their Honda coupe. Gift themselves another hit for surviving a 9-to-5. Turn up the bass when young thug earthquakes at a red light. Then wave goodbye outside your window when the light turns green, teasing men to chase your taillights. I want to write a poem for the women who let their hair grow like an untamed lawn in a wealthy neighborhood, who still wear a white tank top and a mini skirt, flaunting bladed grass on pits and legs dewy by dawn. Show off the beauty in your golden hour shadow, the rose bush of eyebrows you bloomed all year, a tall field guarding your labia from intruders. I want to write a poem for the women who don't show emotion, numb themselves blue, who have to run inside a bathroom stall to cry, the strong women loaning themselves a rock before landsliding apart. I want to write a poem for the rude woman scolding a drunk man that grabbed her friend at a bar, who cusses like it's her love language, does not apologize for the sake of peace. You are the hammer of every glass ceiling, the roar of women who did not make it home, a threat to small men turning to stone when they see a free woman. Thank you. So again, thank you guys. Like I mentioned, we kept it short and sweet today. I hope you all enjoyed yourselves and you all enjoyed the poems that I shared with you today. If you like that, you're gonna love this book. And just before I go, special shout out to my family. My parents are here tonight. They were like, you read all that from your parents? I was thinking the same thing. And then special shout out to my friends out here today with me. I'm so sorry that I couldn't invite more people, stupid COVID. But I appreciate all of you for coming and for all of you that are tuning in. I love you guys so much. Thank you.
Keep it going for Astrid and her book, Through the Soil in My Skin.